This is the case of the viral case of the quote child book killer. Her name is Kori Richins. March 7th, 2023, a new children's book hits the market. It's titled Are You With Me? Written by a grieving widow. She had lost her husband and she and her 3 sons are coping with the grief. They're coping with the loss. And she said that she wrote this book to help other kids and other parents that are in the same situation. But her social media and Google searches tell a completely different story. At first glance, the author has all the social media dedications you would expect from a grieving widow, but her Google searches get a lot more blatantly suspicious. She was allegedly found Googling, what is a lethal dose of fentanyl? Death certificate says pending. Will life insurance still pay? And maybe the most important one, luxury prisons for the rich in America.
Shut the front door.
I'm serious.
Wow.
She was the evil wife, that's what they call her, to a man named Eric Richins. March 4th, 2022, Eric is found dead. Eric Richins had died from an overdose of illicit fentanyl. The examiner also concluded that Eric Richins had 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system at the time of his death, and all of it was consumed orally. The police arrest Kori Richins for charges of aggravated murder, first-degree felony, and 3 counts of a second-degree felony possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance. The main speculation people think is that she wanted to profit. Allegedly, she murdered for money, and now she's thinking, okay, this is my way to fame and money. The staff at Good Things Utah had just spent the day with an alleged murderer and had absolutely no idea. There's this news network in Utah called Good Things Utah. So they had this woman on the show. Her name is Kori Richins, and she's like this new breakthrough author in the children's book space. So her whole thing is that she writes children's books about grief. She's teaching her kids how to grieve the loss of their dad. She went from being a wife to a widow. She went from like being a mom to this huge family of 5. So they have 3 sons together. And now she's a single mom trying to cope and trying to teach her kids how to process these very, very big emotions that, you know, dad is no longer here because he's passed away.
My kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year, and, you know, hoping that it can kind of help other kids.
And cut. The cameras were off. The host of the show, they see Kori off and they start to head back to their office. They sit down, open up their laptop, and they get a new notification. An anonymous email. All it said was, you know she killed her husband, ... A fellow news anchor would also receive a private message on her Facebook just a few days after the segment went live. And the whole message, it just read, you need to investigate her. She's a suspect in the husband's murder. And a lot of netizens have picked that interview apart. They noticed that Kori was strangely wearing this big brown leather jacket with a hood. There's a reason you never see people on TV wearing hoods, because it's very heavy. It's like up to your neck. It kind of makes your proportions not look great. She's also sitting with her legs crossed and her hands holding her legs. And a body language expert named Patty Woods said she wore these heavy things, she wore these colors, she wore the hood because what it does is it protects someone. You feel like not all of you is exposed. Netizens were also very quick to feel like she wasn't that emotional during her interview and she wasn't wearing her wedding ring. Now, the body language expert again said that she just doesn't seem very passionate about her message. Even when she's talking about her kids, she doesn't smile genuine smiles. It just felt very detached. So did this woman murder her husband and then write a book for grief for her kids, for other kids? I never knew evil like that existed. How can someone value human life so cheaply? I cannot comprehend it. Her name is Kori Richins. Allegedly, she murdered for money, and now she's thinking, okay, this is my way to fame and money. Back when they first started dating, they were so adorable. They were so patient with each other. I thought it was a fairy tale romance. I mean, that's what I thought. June 15, 2013. Under the terms of the prenuptial agreement, if Eric and Kori were to be divorced, Eric's assets and Kori's assets would be split as if they were before they were married. What was Eric's, and what was Kori's was Kori's. Both seemed to be involved in the business, and it said that they made quite a bit of money flipping homes, and a lot of times it would lead to fights. The most recent one, prior to Eric's death, was about a McMansion from hell. Okay. It's a McMansion. It's a pretty tacky home, but not only that, for $2 million, it's not even finished. And Eric is like, that is the dumbest business idea I've ever heard in my life. We are not buying that. Like, that's not happening. March 4th, 2022, Eric is found dead. Under the condition of Eric's death, and this is pretty standard in prenuptial agreements, everything that the couple had, including everything that Eric had, would go to the widow or the widower. Kori remembered that clause from the beginning. The police asked Kori what they were doing that night, and she said, oh yeah. So earlier today, we were celebrating closing on a new home for the business. They're like, what? Later, the authorities find out that they would not be celebrating the closing of this house because Eric never wanted to close on this house. But as of the day of his death, she is under the firm belief that the prenup is still in place and that she will still be the beneficiary of all of his assets. Autopsy reports were revealed. Eric Richins had died from an overdose of illicit fentanyl, and all of it was consumed orally. The police arrest Kori Richins for charges of aggravated murder, first-degree felony, and 3 counts of a second-degree felony possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance. March 4th, 2022, 3 a.m., 911. What's your emergency? The call was coming from the Richins residence, and Kori was explaining to dispatch that her husband was cold on the floor of their bedroom and she was freaking out. She thought that he was dead. She explained how she had gone to sleep in one of the sons' rooms because one of the sons was having a nightmare. She states very clearly that she left her phone charging in the primary bedroom. Then she wakes up at 3 a.m., sneaks back into the primary bedroom, and discovers Eric on the floor. March 7th, 2023, a new children's book hits the market. It's titled Are You With Me? Written by a grieving widow. She had lost her husband and she and her 3 sons are coping with the loss. And she said that she wrote this book to help other kids and other parents that are in the same situation, and they don't have anything to read their kids and to help them get through the pain. But her social media and Google searches tell a completely different story. She was allegedly found Googling, what is a lethal dose of fentanyl? And maybe the most important one in her perspective, luxury prisons for the rich in America.
Shut the front door.
I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah. And there is a discrepancy in the 911 call. Do you guys remember? Kori stated that she had put her phone in the master bedroom when she had fallen asleep in her son's room. So it was left charging. Forensic techs were able to find deleted messages from Kori's phone that had been sent and received around the time period she said that she was not using her phone. The deleted messages seemed to point in a different direction. Between December 2021 and February 2022, court records showed that Kori had been in contact with someone that has been known in the courts as CL, as an accomplice of Kori's alleged crimes. From the recovered deleted text messages, CL was selling drugs to Kori. Autopsy reports were revealed. Eric Richins had died from an overdose of illicit fentanyl. Now, the examiner also concluded that Eric Richins had 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system at the time of his death, and all of it was consumed orally. The main speculation people think is that she wanted to profit. Allegedly, she murdered for money, and now she's thinking, okay, this is my way to fame and money. Her name is Kori Richins. She was the evil wife, that's what they call her, to a man named Eric Richins. Eric reportedly told his sister that he thought Kori had tried to poison him. He was afraid that his wife would kill him for his money. A few years ago, the couple went on a vacation in Greece, and one night while Eric was on vacation, he calls his sister in a panic. The sister alleged that Eric believed that Kori had just tried to kill him by giving him a drink that caused him to be, quote, violently ill. He informed his sister that he would be making her the beneficiary of his will and estate. So even if he died, Kori would be getting nothing. In January 2022, just a few months before Eric's death, Kori had found out that Eric had removed her from the life insurance policy. She allegedly logged into Eric's life insurance account and changed it back. So after finding out about this, Eric is feeling very uncomfortable. He draws up a new living trust to give him some peace of mind, and he did this without telling Kori. He changed all the beneficiaries from literally everything from Kori to his sister Katie and his business partner Cody Wright. And it's important to note that Kori would not even be able to think about touching his business if he passed. He made sure of it. He was adamant about it. March 4th, 2022, Eric Richins had died from an overdose of illicit fentanyl. As of the day of his death, she is under the firm belief that she will still be the beneficiary of all of his assets. After Kori found out that she wasn't getting anything after Eric died, she sued Eric's sister for what she thought that should be hers. Eric's sister, Katie, vehemently disputes almost every aspect of her former sister-in-law's claims, and in June of 2022, Katie countersued Kori. Katie also states that she's not trying to get money from Kori by filing this countersuit. She simply wants the claim dismissed and wants the attorney fees and court costs paid off. That's it. The police arrest Kori Richins for charges of aggravated murder, first-degree felony, and 3 counts of a second-degree felony possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance.